All
Well,
right.
Bill, what a great conversation with Hap. I was really
Oh, dude.
appreciative of him taking the time to do that with us.
Yeah, he is just a great resource, and you know, he's like one of the funnest guys to ever work with for a realtor, Craig. And you know how he is. You know what I mean? But he really
They
like.
don't call him Mr. Excitement for nothing.
No, he's funny, hysterical. He's always very positive. I remember he'll call you right away. You know, hey, how you doing? Or this is what we're doing, and everything. He's one of a kind. And I mean, to be
Oh
the
yeah,
same company, same market,
yeah,
45 years to still be killing it and doing what he's doing, he just kicks ass and takes names, man. He's awesome. He's
yeah.
amazing with
That's
resource.
pretty cool. So
Yeah,
let's do a quick rate update and what's happening
yeah.
this week. So what's up with rates?
Well, that Freddie Mac weekly survey came out. Rates, is still in that just above 6%. It sounds great because they were great, 4 or 5 days ago. And all of a sudden, we had the Fed meeting on Wednesday. Powell speaks. He's very calculating about how he speaks. It's interesting. He really tries to just do enough. And he kind of spooked the bond market out. The yield was below what? Was like it's just below 4%. All of a sudden, he talks like what 4.08 or something. It kind of
Yeah.
shot rates up
Yeah,
a little bit on late Wednesday and yesterday, right?
yeah, so we say it all the time, and people, I'm sure there's going to be somebody listening to this, hearing it for the first time. The Fed doesn't control the mortgage rates, and a lot of times when the Fed takes action and lowers rates, the headline is, "Hey, the Fed lowers rates," and then invariably, some of the times, people will call their lender and they'll go, "Hey, I heard rates went down," and the lender says, "Well, I'm sorry to have to tell you that mortgage rates actually went up after
Yeah.
that." And they go, "Well, that doesn't make any sense." And it's because it's the bond market is what sets the mortgage rates, and they're always very forward looking. They're the fact that they cut rates yesterday, the bond market was expecting this for a while. So the rates had been getting better. And then what happened, the reason that rates got worse is, like you said, Powell's very calculating, but he got in there and was like a negative Nelly because the market has already been expecting that they were going to cut rates again in December. And he made a really point and wanted to drive it home that December's not a given. We don't know that we're cutting rates in December. I wouldn't say that we're definitely cutting rates. It depends on the data, and we don't have the data. So when you don't have data and you're driving through a storm and you can't see, what do? You slow down.
Yeah.
So he really went out of his way to kind of make, and that would be, if you hear this term hawkish or dovish, he was hawkish. And
Yeah.
that means that, the bond market didn't like it as much. And so mortgage rates got a little worse. Nothing severe.
Right.
But it was definitely no improvement for sure. So
Yeah, yeah,
and that
and
happens sometimes.
plus we still have the government shutdown. We're very, we don't have access to all these reports and so forth. So it's kind of, we're like you said, we're kind of just driving in the dark or the winter or whatever. It makes for interesting times. It's still at the end of the day, like you just heard Hap say. I mean, listen, he got in the business and the rates were 17%. And he made a good point too, Craig, is he said, there's so many agents that got only been in business for 10 years. And so go back 10 years, 2015 to 2022. Remember, we were in that sub 5% range for all that time. We were in the threes and the fours for all that time. And I got to think there's such a high percentage of agents who've only been in this market for that long. So when they hear 6 or 7, they're freaking out. But really, at the end of the day, like Hab said, and you and I both know, 6% or even 7% is not bad.
No, no,
It's
no,
not a
no.
bad rate. I mean, we'd love to get into the fives, but still.
Right.
And he said there's good value out there, especially in the Northwest Broward market. We have a nice kind of supply and demand. And
Sure.
he was very, very insightful, but it was the timing was interesting too. So,
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. So but anyway, but that's probably a wrap for today.
yeah. Yes.
And great work getting Hap on here. That was fantastic. And
Yeah.
we'll do this again next week. And actually we'll get another guest next week, or actually two
Yes.
weeks.
Yes. We're going to guess for
So
next week too, though. So,
okay, perfect. Well,
yeah.
listen, have a good weekend. Happy Halloween.
Happy
And
Halloween. Hats off to you. And no, Dolphins lost last night, so we'll talk about that. And we'll see you
at the closing table,
closing
sir.
table.
All
Sounds good,
right.
Craig. Take care, buddy.